There's a giant that's sleeping in the Cedar River. It's been here for 150 years. Now it's donating its steely bones to new life. Here in December, workers assembled their equipment that would carefully preserve those bones while clearing the way for an iconic trail bridge, the Alliant Lightline, a bridge for bikers and walkers that will connect communities and trails. The first step is building a road into the river next to the abandoned rail bridge. The new road will carry workers and their surgical equipment down to where they will perform the extractions. Notice in these images the steel walkway next to the rails. This pathway accommodated workers walking over the river from the west side to the packing plant and back again. You will see these walkway parts again in a new setting. When the bridge is finished, the landings will become parks with amenities honoring the rich history of the area. Tons of concrete rubble are dumped and pushed into the river to give access to cranes and lifts. This will enable workers to dissect the historic skeleton and to haul its huge parts onto land for recycling, preservation, and reuse. Piece by huge piece of steel is being preserved to become elements of landscaping in the riverbank park. These massive steel crossmembers, for instance, are being salvaged to become the actual support structures for 6 history kiosks that pay homage to agriculture, industry, labor, and railroads, those that built this city and its surrounds. A fast freeze does not slow these steel surgeons. They have already lowered large sections of the steel bridge backbone to the road and the river. These massive hunks of steel, not used in the landscaping, are destined to be melted down, repurposing 19th century steel for 21st century infrastructure. Moving the multiple-ton girders is made to look like light work by the incredible strength of 2 hydraulic backhoes. One can only imagine the kind of equipment that first put this steel into place over 100 years ago. Yes, the unique story of this railroad bridge will be an essential element of the history of the area, portrayed in the reused steel-supported history kiosks in what may be called here the Connect CR Park. Below you see the contractor, Boomerang Incorporated, beginning to inventory the steel bones destined for reuse in the project. See the stacks of crossbars, walkways, and other parts preserved for posterity. The biggest and most significant element of the whole project comes next. One enormous 36-foot-long segment of the bridge deck weighing 60,000 pounds, or 30 tons, is being preserved intact for placement in the adjacent park, telling the story of this old bridge to future generations. Handling this kind of load is delicate and challenging. First, it must be dissected from the last 90-foot section of bridge deck by scalpel-like use of cutting torches, and of course with the aid of this gargantuan crane and the feather touch on its joysticks by an experienced operator. To guide its trajectory to the ground, a backhoe is chained to one end of the segment. The behemoth is gently lowered to a gurney made of timbers hauled into place as a level landing point. The Lightline Bridge is one of 2 projects that volunteer group Connect CR is collaborating with the city of Cedar Rapids in developing. The other old asset being brought to new life is the other bookend of downtown, Cedar Lake. Both are destined for completion by the end of next year. This next move is reorienting the giant bridge segment so that it can be methodically moved one step at a time up the bank and on its temporary staging location. It will be back as the centerpiece of the adjacent bridge-related park. The stack of recycled steel bridge bones continues to be inventoried by the contractor for incorporation into all of the landscaping elements of the future park. Finally, and most important, a huge thanks to all the supporters for making the Connect CR projects possible.